Hello everybody, in today's video we are going to be going over a September snowstorm over parts of the Rockies and then a very cold air mass that's going to be dipping south into parts of the Midwest and also the Great Lakes there, where you could have temperatures that are nearing the 40s and 50s as well as some 30s for overnight lows. So we are going to be in a very cold air mass throughout that region. And we also have to talk about again that September snowstorm over parts of the Rockies, something very unusual, and this will be breaking some records for 24-hour temperature changes, where you could see temperatures go from near 100 degrees today and into probably by Wednesday, you're looking at temperatures that are nearing the lower 30s. So very, very cold and drastic changes in your temperatures. And we'll be going over all of that and more in today's video, including my personal snowfall forecast at the end of the video. So let's get right into it here. Freeze warnings in effect in that dark blue over parts of northern Minnesota and western North Dakota. Frost advisories for parts of northeastern North Dakota and northern Minnesota. Freeze watches in effect for parts of southern and southeastern North Dakota and parts of western parts of Minnesota there, and we also have winter weather advisories for much of the Rockies. If not, we have winter storm warnings for the rest of the Rockies there, and even into parts of the Plains states where you could see 6 or more inches of snowfall out of this storm. We also have freeze warnings in effect for parts of eastern Colorado, as well as parts of northeastern Nevada there. We also have some winter storm watches in effect for northern New Mexico, high wind warnings in effect for parts of Colorado and northern New Mexico. We also have some high wind warnings and watches in effect for parts of Utah, Idaho, Montana, Washington, and Oregon there. We have some wind advisories scattered throughout the northern Rockies as well. We have some red flag warnings all over parts of the western United States due to that high fire danger. We also have some extreme heat over parts of the southwest, where you have some high excessive heat warnings in effect for portions of Nevada, Arizona, and also for much of the state of California and southwestern Oregon there. So that wraps up your National Weather Service page. We have a lot going on, especially in the western United States, due to that really warm air mass over parts of the southwest, that very cold air mass over parts of the central U.S. and the eastern Rockies, and then also that snowstorm over parts of the Rockies. So just overall, a lot going on in the western United States right now. Now here's your 2 meter temperature anomalies for Wednesday afternoon, and this would be right around when you're seeing your high temperatures, and you are looking at record-breaking cold air over parts of Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, Nebraska, into Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and New Mexico there, where you're seeing temperatures anywhere from about 30 degrees below normal to 45 and maybe even 50 degrees below normal in some isolated regions. And you see that cold air is not just isolated over this part of the country. You're looking at a widespread area that is in below normal temperatures over much of the western United States and also for the north central United States. You also see that very, very chilly air for this time of year. Now, here's what that looks like in terms of your low temperatures, and you are looking at low temperatures that are going to be in the 30s, and your low temperatures are going to be in a time period where you're only about 20 degrees below your normal. If your low temperatures were where you're seeing temperatures 40, 45 degrees below normal, you would most likely have lows that are in the 20s or teens for many of these even lower elevated regions. Now, here would be your simulated radar from the European model, and we're going to take this out about 60 or so hours and just play this through and see what it does with the storm, and we'll look at the snowfall totals at the end of the video, including my personal snowfall forecast. Now, this would be by Monday morning, and you're starting to see this snowfall really start to pick up over parts of northern Montana, and this would be pretty much as of when I'm recording. This would be the pretty much the radar depiction of what's going on. And actually, we did see this. I was comparing this to what's actually happening right now, and this is quite accurate, except it is pushed a little bit further to the north and to the east. So maybe that is something to look at, especially with the track of the storm. Maybe it tracks further to the east, and places like Idaho and Utah get a little bit less snowfall, and places to the east get a little bit more snowfall. We'll still have to see about that, and that is still up in the air. Now, Here would be again by Monday, probably right around your late morning time. Now this would be by your noon time as you're eating lunch, and you're seeing western Montana only in the highest elevations, seeing some of that snowfall. Now, as you continue to move southward, really as you get into Wyoming, that's where even lower elevation regions could get some snowfall. This would be by right around 6 p.m. Mountain Time for you guys, and this would be over parts of southern Montana, northeastern Idaho, and into northern Wyoming there, where you are seeing some very, very cold temperatures and some snowy conditions as well for parts, again, of northern Wyoming there. Now, as we continue throughout the day and as we go into the overnight hours, as the sun is setting, you're going to see this snowfall become a lot more widespread over parts of Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho. And as we continue this forward, as we get into Tuesday, this would be by midnight. We are looking at pretty much the entire state of Wyoming, especially the western and pretty much, I would say, a good three-fourths of the state of Wyoming is looking at some snowfall or wintry precipitation. Now, here would be by as you're starting to wake up into parts of Wyoming, Colorado, and Utah, you're starting to see snowfall right as you're waking up, and it's pretty heavy at this point. It's moderate to heavy snowfall, especially over southern Wyoming by this point. And then as we continue to move throughout the day, this would be by right around your noon time, and the snowfall is starting to break up. It's starting to lighten a little bit, but that will intensify throughout the day, especially over southern Colorado, where you do have some high mountains, and that is going to lead to quite a bit of snowfall over those regions. And as you look at this would be by Tuesday, right around 6 p.m., and you are still looking at some heavy snowfall, especially over central and eastern Colorado, and even into parts of western Nebraska, and even potentially on previous model runs over western Kansas, western Oklahoma, you could have seen some snowfall or at least some icy precipitation out of this. That doesn't look to be the case anymore, but it is still definitely a possibility. Now, as we continue, this would be by Wednesday, probably right around midnight, and you are looking at still quite a bit of snowfall, especially over Colorado, Nebraska, and into parts of Wyoming and Utah. And then it kind of starts to just sit there. This is a pretty stationary front that's just sliding further south, and with that comes the colder air, and that's what's allowing the snowfall to occur. This would be by Wednesday. By the time that you're waking up, you're seeing quite a bit of snowfall still for parts of Colorado and Nebraska, and that snowfall eventually starts to break up by right around, I would say, 9 a.m. on Wednesday, and then by noontime on Wednesday, it's very scattered in nature, but still fairly chilly over parts of Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, and that would pretty much wrap up your winter storm. Now, here are your European ensemble model snowfall totals. Yesterday, I used the Kuchera snowfall totals from the European model, and I just thought those were a little bit high in terms of the values that they were putting out. So I did choose a little bit more of a conservative model in what it's showing, and I am looking at most likely something around this solution looks quite likely, and I do think that is pretty much one of the more accurate models. This is about 40 models put together with different outcomes, and if you average them out, this is what they come out to. You do see, again, in parts of Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, you do see quite a bit of snowfall that's over 6 inches, but that's mainly in highly elevated regions. Now, here would be your wind speeds out of this, your maximum wind gusts from now all the way until Thursday. So this would be from now all the way until just about a day after the storm or so. And you could see potentially some blowing snow out of this. You don't need a lot of snow to actually get blowing snow. You just need some sort of snow. You probably about half an inch to an inch per hour, and you could probably see some visibility lowering, especially if you have a gusty wind. And if you look at this, we are looking at winds that are above 40 miles per hour in some locations. These would be your wind gusts, and this is not a sustained wind, but wind gusts of maybe 30 to 40 miles per hour could definitely pose a threat if you are driving on these roads. Now, here would be my personal snowfall forecast here, and I am looking at probably 1 to 3 inches of snowfall for parts of Montana, Wyoming, into kind of a little bit of Utah there, and much of central Colorado and northern New Mexico, and even I leave out the possibility for western western Nebraska and western and southwestern South Dakota to get a few inches out of this storm. Now, here's my 3 to 6 inch area, and this is for parts of northern Montana there, excuse me there. This is for parts of northern Montana, also for parts of Wyoming, into a little bit of Utah there, and into central Colorado, where I am looking at probably 3 to 6 inches of snowfall. And then here is my 6 to 12 inch region here, and I am looking at over central Colorado and central Wyoming, 6 to 12 inches of snowfall. And I even have a 12 to 18 inch region over parts of southernmost Colorado, where many of these models show up to 2 feet of snowfall. And I think that's a little bit high, but I do think that is definitely a possibility. So I will leave out, I will promote maybe some highest elevation regions could see 18 or more inches of snowfall. Right now, I think 12 to 18 inches is a good estimate. So that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.